This week, we discuss Chimney in a Chimney.
Athena pushing through her fear.
And Buck's hidden feelings, whatever those are.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddie System, a 911 yapathon hosted by 3 friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
no stone is left unturned.
And no Buddie is left behind.
Hey Alexa, play Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. Welcome to Dispatch. What's on call this week?
This week we're discussing Season 4, Episode 2, Alone Together. Written by Lindsay Abolio, directed by David Grossman, and the director of photography is our boy Joaquin Cedillo. It originally aired on January 25th, 2021.
Now, this is still part of the big emergency, but we have a couple specific calls of the week. The first is, don't be such a stick in the mud, where 3 hikers on a mission snap a selfie in front of the iconic Hollywood sign, get a little too close for comfort when the sign comes crashing down due to the earthquake and mudslide, stranding and trapping them in quicksand, or one of them in quicksand. Next is not your average slip and slide. So Athena and agoraphobic Sylvia try to recover and rescue themselves after being trapped inside Sylvia's house when it collapsed and keep sliding down the hillside. And our last one is chimney delivery. A rescue turns into a delivery when Chimney shimmies down the chimney of a now buried house, finding a group of young pregnant women being held prisoner and one of them going into active labor. All right, so we're like fully in season 4 now, the second half of this emergency. What do we think? What are our thoughts? Do we have thoughts? No, we don't. Moving on. Well, that was a really short section, folks. Time to go ahead.
Here, I'll try. I'll try. Emotional beats, good.
Mm-hmm.
Not my favorite. Opening emergency, and it suffers from the COVID stuff, but I get that was the time that we were living in.
Yeah.
I'm playing devil's advocate. This is Rachel's job.
You're doing a great job of it, though.
Yeah, no, I do like some of the emotional stuff, but yeah, it's just not my favorite. Can't wait to get into the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just suffers a little bit from being a 2-part emergency rather than, what we're used to, having the setup and then the emergency. So it's not that there weren't emotional beats like Sil said, and like they're good. It's just I don't feel like it covered everyone the way it normally does. Like we're really heavily focused on Chim and Athena, which like is great. But I really like when we are able to touch more on all the characters.
Just to add, I also feel like there aren't many, like their stakes weren't high, in my opinion. So I think it's kind of lackluster for me.
I think because it throws us like directly into the opening emergency, we don't have a chance to kind of like settle back in with the characters as much as we normally like to, which would be like an episode 1 type of deal. Saying the devil's advocate because that is my job. I know that is because of the abbreviated season. So they really kind of had to hit the ground running. But yeah, it's like, it's not that the stakes weren't high. It's just like, I don't know.
I think for me, it doesn't have as much of a rewatchability. I think that's my problem with it. Where like most of these episodes, like I watch them at least 2 to 4 times before we record an episode. And it was like hard to get through it 2 times. So it's not that it's a bad episode. I think it's just like hard to rewatch.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like part of it is because like is kind of, I mean, us watching 4 years later, it is kind of bogged down in the COVID stuff. Not that there was like a lot of it really touched on in this episode. It was mostly like the 3 hikers at the beginning talking about quarantine, but there wasn't really much besides that. But it just like has an air of kind of like a little bit more heaviness than I think opening emergencies usually do. And I think that's just the vibe of the time coming through.
Yeah.
somehow, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I think
Yeah.
what it is there's not enough like levity balancing it like there normally is.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
considering
mean?
we're coming from like season 3, which was kind of like a downer of the season a little bit,
Yeah.
very much actually. And then we were hit with the times and what at the time we were currently living. We were living in the bad times. So I mean, yeah, Han's right. Like there's no levity to
Yeah,
it.
like it just wasn't far enough removed from it where and maybe they were also still kind of like in the writer's room trying to figure out how they wanted to address things like going forward. Like, do we make more jokes about it? Is it too soon to do that? I feel like that they may not have landed on a decision of that yet, which like is completely understandable.
Which
as
is
well.
fair. I just meant levity in general. Like it didn't need to be like jokes about COVID. I just meant like more goofy moments. But again,
Yeah,
it's that it's a 2-parter and not a 3-parter. So there's not as much room for that kind of stuff to like have space
to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't mean like jokes about COVID or the
Yeah.
times or anything like that, but just kind of like finding that balance between like the times are heavy and like what's the balance to like keep things light versus like, you know, a little more realistic. And I think they were still trying like figuring that out. Further along the season, it ends up like they find their stride in that way.
They do. There's some of the silliest, goofiest episodes in the show in the season.
Yeah.
Which are really,
Yeah.
really welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that really ends up helping like bring up the energy, but that's not this episode specifically. It's a lot to look forward to. Gosh, that was kind of a downer. Sorry.
We're gonna need the jaws of life over here.
Okay, so I guess we'll spend a little bit of time in diving into the mud. We don't want to do that. But I found there was actually an article from last week's episode that I think it relates to Buck. And I think I'm going to talk about that a little more when we're in his Who's Cookin' character section. So other than that, there wasn't really much. I think there's a little like more articles down the line. So we can just roll right into stuff about production. So again, this was written by Lindsay Bolio. Just to remind us, she wrote 305 Rage. That was her first episode. She wrote 311 Seize the Day. And most recently, at this point, she wrote 317 Powerless, which plays heavily into this episode as well. And I think all of those in this one have kind of some similar beats in the sense of there are some heavy topics, heavy real world topics, especially. There's still like a sense of hope in there or like a sense of optimism. And I think that's what makes these really good episodes is that, you know, even when we're looking at stuff like Rage with the traffic stop and Powerless when Athena gets attacked, there is like elements of, you know, looking not necessarily for the silver lining, but like looking towards the positive moments moving forward. In season 4, she will also, in addition to this episode, write 410 Parenthood and 413 Suspicion, which again, heavy topics, but with a sense of like slight optimism, you know?
Yeah.
And then this episode was directed by David Grossman. We previously saw him direct 312 Fools. That's the one where Buck helps Eddie get a skateboard for Chris, most notably, for us at least. And he is the most frequent director in this season. So I think I brought it up in 312 when we were talking about it. But he directed 401, the previous episode, 402. He will direct 408, Breaking Point, which essentially works as the mid-season finale. There was like a 3-week hiatus. So that's like kind of where they split it up. He'll also direct 410 Parenthood, which is also written by Lindsay Bolio, and 412 Treasure Hunt. So we'll see a lot of his work this season. We had some songs.
We did have some songs. Not a lot of lyrics to really get into that we need to. the episode starts with I Feel the Earth Move by Carole King because it's
song.
for lulls. It's
They
I feel
always
the
have to
earth
do
move under
some
my feet. I
lulls.
feel the sky tumbling down. Like it's a love song, like it's a metaphor, but they were just like, yeah, throw it in here for the literal LOL, which I approve of. I do think it was a missed opportunity to not play Landslide in either one of these episodes.
Do we know if they used Landslide for any like promotional stuff?
I have no idea, actually.
Because that would have been really good
It would have been.
and kind of like reflective of the vibe.
I don't know. It's kind of too slow for promotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too chill, somber.
Because they're using the chain for 911 Nashville.
But the
that's
chain
that's
is
got
like,
some
yeah.
oomph to it.
Yeah, exactly. And then during the montage of like Athena and Sylvia getting out of the house and Chimney delivering the baby, they're playing Experience, which is composed by Ludovico Einaudi, an Italian composer. And you might hear that song and be like, wow, what movie do I know this from? You probably don't know it from a movie. You know it from TikTok. Because it went viral on TikTok. It's like the most popular like string instrumental on TikTok.
Was it really not used in a TV?
It's like, been used in some movies and TV, but nothing of note that I've seen. Nothing that even that I was like, oh, that's a popular thing that maybe a lot of people would know that from. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you probably know it from TikTok. Because I went, what is this from? It's from TikTok. And then at the end of the episode, when we have our, families back together montage, Bloom by the Paper Kites plays. And it's just a really sweet song about like waking up with the person that you love and like wanting to be close to them. I don't like really think I need to get into any specific lyrics. It's literally like 3/4 of the song is just repeated, can I be close to you? So,
I mean, it's very thematic of
exactly
for the episode. So that makes sense.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you. So this is a special hands version of Buckapedia moment. Hannapedia.
Yeah. So when they like get to the landslide, they're talking to someone who has the fire hat, like the LAFD helmet on, but it says battalion. And I was like, what's the difference between a battalion and like the captain and like a fire chief? What is the difference? I Googled that question, found a Reddit thread where someone else asked that same exact question. I don't think because of 911, but it was 6 years ago. And LAFD responded.
Oh,
yes.
From the source.
From LAFD, Brian Humphrey, firefighter, specialist public service officer of the LAFD. He said, in regards to the LAFD, each of our 106 neighborhood fire stations are served by 3 similar groups of personnel who work a rotating and repetitive shift schedule. They are identified as A, B, and C platoon, with each platoon, aka shift, working a continuous 24-hour tour of duty before being replaced by the next person, and so on and so forth. On every shift, each neighborhood fire station is staffed by and under the command of a captain. A handful of LAFD fire stations with large staffing have 2 captains per shift, with one typically assigned to the ladder truck, ranking senior to the other, but still publicly called a captain. So like whether someone's like more senior, like they'd be ranking, so they'd be in charge of like the other truck, even if they aren't a captain. Simplistically, each LAFD neighborhood fire station and the assigned personnel fall under the command of an on-duty captain. Overseeing a geographic cluster of those neighborhood fire stations, include the captain's crew, is an on-duty battalion chief on the same rotating ABC schedule.
Okay. Like not just that station, but like a larger area.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're normally in charge of like, I think it's 7 or 8. Oh, here. I'm not done. LAFD captain is the first level supervisor in command of a group of firefighters. An LAFD battalion chief is the immediate supervisor of captains and their neighborhood fire stations across the larger community. That cluster of fire stations, an average of 7 in a community, is considered a battalion. So they're like the captain of the captains, but then I think the fire chief is still above them. So so they're kind of more in charge. I think from what I gathered from my other research is like they are kind of like pencil pushing, but in the field. Like they're directing, like they're not, they are firefighters, but like they're kind of more in charge of like making sure people get to like where they need to go and like telling people what to do and organizing all of that more than like just getting their hands on things.
like an incident commander,
Kind of, yeah.
but like
But
not
of 7
necessarily
stations.
incident specific.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to like learn more about the hierarchy of that.
Yeah.
It kind of goes like from little neighborhood to like larger region to like the chief oversees all like county or something.
Because I was like, is the battalion like outside, like more like not rural, but like national park kind of stuff? Like I was like, what is it for? But that makes sense. That they would be there at the landslide, making sure that like the tons of firefighters
Whole
who were there, were like distributed properly and organized well. So that's all.
Because that would have been like such a large span of area to cover.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thanks.
The more you know.
All right, so for parallels and callbacks, I found the Athena parallel. Okay, so we're paralleling the ending of 402 and the ending of 803. With this episode, we have Bobby in the helicopter looking for Athena. He does see her. And she said, so like when they finally land the helicopter, she's like, thank you for coming to get me. And he's like, always. And then in 803, you know, he's standing in front of the fire truck while she's landing that plane. And it's like that whole exchange that I see you. And then like, I mean, he went to get her as well. So it's like, so he's always coming to get her. And it's basically like, I guess like Athena's beacon, right? Home.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
lighthouse.
Like a little bit of that. And I think that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Too bad that he's not coming to get her anymore.
God.
Yeah. No, like literally, I think when it hit me that it's kind of the same thing, even though like he's the one that's on a metal contraption that would need to land and she's on the ground, and then on the other side of that, he's on the ground, she's in the air. Like either way, they were coming to each other. And then so it did hit me that was probably kind of like the last time that was ever going to happen. And I was like, oh no. So thank you, season 8, for once again recontextualizing literally everything that I watch in earlier seasons.
There's something about the lines that they exchange with each other whenever one of them comes to like save the other.
Yeah.
And I think they do that like always thing a couple times, but it's just like it's so beautiful and lovely every time.
Yeah.
Just like their little thanks for coming to get me. Always. I see you. Tell me in person. It's just so cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, that reminded me of 803 as well.
Same. And then a parallel I noticed is so timely because Athena's going back to work after an attack, and May, instead of going away to college, stays behind and starts working at dispatch to keep an eye on her mom because she's worried about her, because she's not like, okay, she's not her normal self. And she almost just died. So I think there's a lot of similarities in that and what we're probably going to see with May in the beginning of season 9. I think she's very frustrated with her mother. You know, she's still worried about her because, you know, she lost another love of her life and now she's in space and possibly dying. So, and she's almost done school. So we might see her back at dispatch.
Yeah, a lot of I think season 4 and season 9 are going to be very like timely, just like perfectly paralleled in some of these ways, right? So it's so fun that we're like covering it simultaneously.
Just seems to work out for us that way sometimes.
I know.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
I don't know if it's like recency bias, so we're just picking it out. I don't know.
I don't know. I still think there's something to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, whether it be like season 9 is like picking at like all of these earlier seasons, like season 2, season 3, some of it in season 4. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting where it leans the most, even though they do kind of like pick out from like different buckets sometimes. Yeah. I think that's what I've noticed.
Like where it's going to end up being the most similar.
Yeah.
Or not the most similar, but like pull the most from.
Yeah. And then as far as foreshadowing, I think the only thing I really noticed was just like babies. which is obvious, but I think more specifically, like a really stressful delivery.
Yeah.
Because that's unfortunately what ends up happening for Maddie later this season. So I don't know.
Stressful for us too.
Yeah.
The viewer.
Yeah. Stressful for everyone. Mostly for Albert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this episode, I mean, that particular scene where Chimney's delivering the baby and Athena's trying to pull out I forgot what her name
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Where Athena is trying to pull out Sylvia. I think it's very it foreshadows, it parallels to what we will see during the episode where Maddie is going to deliver the baby and Albert gets into that accident.
Mm-hmm.
So like they kind of like, I guess, had like a blueprint of what they wanted to do for that, because like it's kind of the same thing. They also had like the music and the switch in between
the montage,
the switch in between scenes. So
maybe we need to like keep count in these first 7 episodes before that, because I think that happens in 408. I think maybe we need to keep track of how many like births there are, not necessarily like actual literal labor, but like you know, the way that they were the way that they were pairing up the young expectant mother Amber going through labor with Athena and Sylvia, like kind of going through a labor of lifting that slab off of each other. So like something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like this is my fault.
No, because I mean, like, we're going to be talking about themes in a minute. I think that is kind of part of some of the theme.
So,
okay. Speaking of themes.
So, very notably, I mean, this is because it's the second episode, it's still setting up a lot of themes for the season very strongly. And this isolation and loneliness versus like trying to find connection is very prevalent and very relatable, because that's what literally everybody in the entire world has been going through. So then there's this aspect of people feeling alone and disconnected from others. But on the flip side of that, you know, this assurance of we're in this together and you're not alone. And there are people here right now who are with you and will help you and all of that stuff. So especially with like, you know, Athena helping Sylvia and vice versa, Chimney helping Amber with the labor, all of this is just like, you're not doing this alone. So finding that connection when the world is so isolated.
I think a big theme for this episode as well is COVID relationships on several levels. So like we have the quarantine where like 2 of them, you know, they had just started dating when the quarantine started. So they started living together. And we see that too with Michael and David, you know, but it's better in their case because they, you know, are not really young and they kind of knew what they wanted. And weren't living with a third person in a love triangle, but I digress. But also just how COVID affects even established relationships. So we kind of get a peek at like all the existing like romantic relationships and like how that's doing, or like familial relationships if like you can't be with them still because of what's happening in the world. So like that's what we see in the ending montage. So I really thought it was kind of like showing how if you are still having to be isolated or just coming out of isolated, like how you still stay connected and close with people.
Yeah. And there's also, I think this goes with like isolation and loneliness. There's like an aspect of some survivor's guilt as well. And I think we see that most notably with Sylvia, because she had her sister die in the car crash that they were both involved in. And I'm not sure exactly how to like pull that for like some other characters as well. But I feel like that is kind of related to like COVID stuff as well. That makes sense. especially when you're talking about like first responders in this time, like how much have they had to like see and go through and just like keep trucking on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, like, speaking of keep trucking on, perseverance and, like, pushing through the pain or your fear or both.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, pushing through the pain, like, part of the... Like, I wasn't even trying to do that for the pun. Like, it's literally pushing through, like, labor and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Because we talked about, like, perseverance last episode for 401 and how you just kind of like have to write it out, but in cases like in this episode you literally have to push through it. So labor, they had to push with the slab to get it off of Sylvia. They kind of had to like push with the guy in the quicksand.
I wasn't even thinking of physical pushing. I was thinking like mental.
Well, that's
pushing.
the thing, because there is mental and physical in this episode. So it ties together very well like that. And with fear, you know, like being afraid all of the time and not letting fear like run you. So we have, you know, Chimney being afraid of being a bad dad or afraid of being a good dad, and how people don't always make the best decisions when you're operating out of fear, because that's Chimney was doing that, Sylvia was doing that, May is doing that as well. So it doesn't make a person weak, but it's just like shows that they're operating from a place of fear and to kind of push through that fear in order to persevere, basically. And then in 401, I talked a little bit about like 1-2 punches getting more than you bargained for. I think we are seeing that play out some more. Most specifically, I think with Chimney going into the house, like they thought they were just rescuing a baby, like it's fine. And then, oh, it's not just, you know, what it seems on the tin. There's a lot more that you didn't expect. So that kind of stuff, just to keep in mind. I think that does it for now. There was something about leverage, but I haven't really quite parsed it out. Something with like the pushing, and I don't know. It's fine.
Who's cooking? All right. Kind of similar to the last episode. There's not like a ton of us to get into with character analysis here, but like there's a bit. We're going to start with Chimney in his natural habitat. Can't believe it took him 4 seasons to put him in a chimney.
I know. Do you think they were like, oh my God, wait, we can put Chimney down a chimney?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like they came up with Chimney down a chimney before they came up with the rest of the call.
Yeah, like how do we get to the place where we want?
Yeah.
Which is Chimney down a chimney. I think the only thing that would have made that better is if it were Christmas time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was January. Belated Christmas.
Yeah. You know, not complaining. I love it.
We see a lot of Chimney and Buck in this episode, which I love. Give me more of my not quite reluctant brothers, a little reluctant brothers.
It's nice when we can see that like almost brother-in-law dynamic.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think the last time we really saw that was in 314, The Taking of Dispatch, when they kind of like teamed up to make sure Maddie was okay.
So they're they're teamed up at the landslide, and Chimney's making his dad jokes.
Approved.
Not that he didn't make them before. He's just like making them with a purpose now.
Now he has an excuse.
You know, he's prepping to embarrass his kids properly. But he also is just like being like really negative. And I don't know that that's kind of like, he kind of is a realist, but he's not normally like glass half empty.
It's very self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Like he's making these jokes like, oh, I lose my phone 3 times a week. I'm going to lose the baby.
Yeah.
Like he forgot it on the counter or something like that. Which is a little harder to do. But it's those kind of things. It's like, oh, I lose my phone all the time. I'm going to be a bad dad.
Yeah.
It's so self-deprecating, but he's making jokes out of it. because that's how he knows how to cope
Yeah.
with that. And it's also funny because it's very much like he is externalizing his deep insecurities and fears in like humor.
Yeah.
So everyone's just like, kind of rolling their eyes at the dad jokes. It's also, you're not going to be a bad dad. And that's why Buck has to keep like, being optimistic, Buck, and you're going to be great. Like trying to reassure him.
Mm-hmm.
But Chimney is so like in his own, he's kind of stuck in the mud of his thoughts in this way. Where it's just like, I'm going to be an awful parent. I'm not prepared for this. I'm so scared. But masking with humor.
So the universe chose to like throw a funny haha in his face. They're like, you're trying to avoid going home like with the excuse that you're trying to protect your wife and child, but actually you're just scared.
And scaring them.
So, he goes down a chimney and he finds a lot of babies. He finds an actual baby and then he finds someone giving birth to a baby. So he has to coach, I don't remember this girl's name.
Amber.
He has to coach Amber for giving birth. And it's very much like this is his moment of realization that he needs to be at home, like with with his wife and soon to be kid, because she's freaking the fuck out. Like she's like, I can't do this alone. And then he's there like coaching her. And I think not only did like that make him realize like kind of what Maddie's experiencing right now, but also like kind of prove to him that like he can do this. Like it's scary, but like he's literally telling this girl, like, I know it's scary, but you just have to like keep pushing. Like you have to just like, you got this. Push basically. So, he's talking to Amber and himself.
Yeah. I feel like everything that Amber says, like her experience about how she wanted someone by her side, someone like a hand to hold and everything, like it definitely woke him up in terms of like what Maddie is feeling or must be feeling, because Maddie's not necessarily outright saying that, but she has been asking, come home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think it also wakes him up in the way that it's like, Chimney, you're also not alone.
Yeah.
Because you're freaking out that all of it is really excuses, but he's freaking out that he's going to be a bad dad. But like you have a partner right there. You're not alone. So Maddie is with you too. So like you guys need to be there for each other. And so finally goes home.
I think what Amber says to him about like wanting, like really wishing she had someone there with him also makes Chimney realize that he has actually by operating out of fear for the whole quarantine and basically running in place kind of, he's missing out on the big moments and some of these milestones that should be celebrated with your partner. But instead, it's kind of like turned it into a big scary thing. And how much like not only that Maddie it must be scared and feeling alone, but he is preventing himself from experiencing that with her as well. And I think that really helps him kind of come to a new awareness, like he's scared, Maddie's scared, they might as well be scared together, because it's better being together and being in something
being scared together is fine too.
Yeah.
Because at least you have someone with you to like help shoulder the burden and it's not all on you.
Yeah.
And so Maddie says this to him. She's like, what changed? The world is still the same. And he said, what changed is him. And he realized all of this. And I think that would normally make for a stronger foundation as well.
Yeah, it's, it's one of those things where like no parent is ever ready like to be a parent. But this is especially like a crazy time to like become a parent, like in those super uncertain times during COVID, but he's having this like on steroids realization that I think a lot of parents have, where it's like, okay, I can't get stuck in the fear of everything that could go wrong. and just be scared because you will literally drive yourself crazy thinking of all the things that could go wrong with your kid and your partner or yourself delivering the baby and then all that comes after it. So yeah, I think this was like a semi-normal-ish response, except that like I think if it hadn't been COVID, we still would have seen something kind of along these lines, but like not him like living somewhere else to avoid it. But we would have seen him like this fear manifesting itself in some other way.
Yeah, I definitely think this would have been part of his arc, no matter what time it would have been in, because we do see it again in season 8. So it's just like, that's just kind of intrinsic Chimney-ism, you know? But it did also kind of remind me a little bit of Michael from last season, how he was operating in such like a kind of negative headspace. Just to be like, preparing for the worst. Like, that's kind of what Chimney was doing. But he finally gets like a little bit of like,
It's part preparing for the worst because like the world, but also like he just doesn't have a lot of faith in himself because, you know, he doesn't have a good role model for a dad. So he doesn't really have any idea how to be a dad.
All he has to do is be himself.
Exactly.
And like, not gonna lie, this is kind of one of the Chimney episodes of all time.
Yeah. So I think he says to Amber, like, I hear 90% of being a parent is just showing up. And like, you're already doing that. Cause like, I mean, she's giving birth. She kind of has to. But, you know, I just feel like that whole scene with him under there is just so like the universe forcing him through like psychological warfare to get over himself and his fears. So
it's like exposure therapy.
Yeah. Basically. It was really good. I think it's like the best part of the episode is him working through this.
Yeah. And it's kind of lovely that the flip switches in his mind, and kind of from this point on, I think he's pretty steadfast about it, which also makes it interesting when we get to after Maddie gives birth and going into season 5 and stuff, and how that kind of gets flip-flopped also because of operating out of fear. But that's for later.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Bro, this silly goofy show is actually so depressing.
I know. I know. But like, but they have jokes and hee ha ha's and I think Han, you said this when we were watching it, that like Chimney's kind of the funniest when he's jaded and all Eeyore mode.
Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Because that's his coping mechanism.
Yeah. So it's like even more jokes, just jokes left and right.
But it's also like, haha, oh.
He's in the chimney and he's not even saying it into the radio. It's literally talking to himself. He's like, I feel like such a cliche.
He has the Eeyore tone too. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, he really does.
Bother. This might as well happen.
And I do just like love the little I love the little quip that he makes to Buck. Like, if anyone asks, this is how I got my name. It's like, we're never gonna know.
No, we're never gonna know.
No.
And I wanted to stay that way.
Sometimes I see people on the timeline be like, when are we gonna find out? I'm like, literally never.
Please never.
They don't even know.
And I like it that way.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be the mystery forever and ever. Insert your headcanons here.
It probably, my guess would be it has something to do with smoking weed. And that's why it's not a child appropriate.
Because he chews the gum all the time.
Yeah, because it's not an appropriate story for children, right?
No.
So
I don't know. I think everybody's imaginations could come up with stuff like so much better that that I hope they never answer it. That maybe like the last episode in like 20 years.
Hey,
no, because how that would be like, so how did you get your nickname? Funny story, and that's the end. Like, they're never gonna tell us.
Good. I like not knowing.
All right, should we talk about Athena?
Yeah. Athena can't catch a break either.
This wasn't even transportation.
No. The house wasn't supposed to move anywhere.
She was in a house. Oh, God.
Nowhere is safe from Athena Grant.
No, literally.
It wasn't even like a mobile home where it could like.
I mean, it was a house on the hills. We've talked about this. Hard pass for me.
Oh, yeah.
because of exactly stuff like this.
Yes.
So glad Florida's flat.
Why you live on place like that, in place that regularly have earthquake? No, makes sense to me.
Who knows?
It's also like those houses on stilts, like on the beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no,
Why?
no.
So many of those are coming down this year in the Outer Banks. It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, why was that a good idea in the first place? It's like erosion.
Yeah, it's I mean, you're literally building a house on sand. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It cannot be us.
anyway, Athena.
So she's still under the collapsed house with Sylvia.
Yeah.
Which keeps sliding down
Further
the hill
and
even
further
more.
down.
Oh,
It's
gravity.
so like tenuous. Oh, gravity.
Maybe that's the string, the thread.
Hey, what comes up must come down.
Uh-huh.
So.
Oh, yeah. She's in space going further and up right now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
She can't catch a
My
break.
God, stop.
So anyway, Sylvia's like, you should go. You should save yourself. Get out of here before, we both die. And she's like, this is my
No.
job. This is my job. No, I don't think any first responder that we know from the show would be like, okay, bye.
No, exactly. Which is where the tension comes in with May, but we'll get to
Mhm.
that. But yeah, they have Athena and Sylvia have this really beautiful moment of connection, especially for two people who have felt so like disconnected and isolated in their own like selves, where Sylvia talked about the car accident that killed her sister, but she survived and felt like she never really fully recovered from the grief of that. And
Uh-huh.
So Sylvia like talks about how she was in a crash with her sister and like never should have survived, and she has all this survivor's guilt. Just some foreshadowing for 405 for Buck.
oh damn.
Some sibling survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Maddie.
I don't know that hers is so much survivor's guilt.
It's more like guilt about lying. And
Yes.
omission. Lying
Yeah.
by omission. Yeah. But oof.
Yeah. But Buck
brain
is like,
blast.
I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't, necessary. And then
I knew that
Had
was
me-
a theme
had
for
me
a
for
reason.
spare parts, defective parts. As it turns out, like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I knew
Anyway.
that. Okay. That makes me feel better about kind of being like about the survivor's guilt theme. I was
Yeah.
like, there's something more there, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I think you got it. So back to Athena and Sylvia. They're having this really lovely moment of connection where Sylvia is confiding in Athena about how, she kind of gave up on herself and life and didn't really want to go out into the world anymore. And Athena, we know, is deep down feeling very much like similar ways because of the attack and how scared she was to go back to work, even though she told everybody, I'm fine. She was not fine. And sometimes it's just easier to tell strangers, your deepest, darkest insecurities and secrets and all of that stuff. But that moment of vulnerability for both of them allows them to connect and then be stronger together, which again goes with the theme.
Yeah.
Like, you're not alone. You have someone right there to help you. And how they both blame themselves, but by telling the other one that, like, that's not, you're not weak for that and you're not to blame for that necessarily. Like, they end up kind of telling themselves by telling the other person. That wasn't very articulate, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing going on for Chimney and Amber, where
Yeah.
it's like he's working through like his own issues through that whole experience, and he's pushing through his fear, while she pushes out a baby, and then Athena's, pushing through her fear while helping Sylvia push through her fear, but also push, part of her house off.
Everybody wins. Everybody gets some growth.
Hope Sylvia has good insurance on that house.
No, for real.
I hope so. I know. I was thinking about that too. I was like, now she doesn't even have a house to go back to. So she's just like out there in the world.
She's got to have some decent amount of money to own that house, though. So I imagine.
I think she does just fine.
Had like insurance on the house, so
yeah.
Hopefully she didn't build it on a hill.
That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm out of California. I'm out of the hills.
That would be fair too. Get me somewhere flat.
Yeah. And then, do we really have anything to say about Bobby? Bobby's just being Bobby.
Yeah,
I think I covered it.
Yeah, with the parallels. I mean, I think the only thing I have to say about that is you can see they're kind of like subtly, not so subtly, mentioning, or the battalion captain, chief person, it is, very subtly mentioning, and there's something about like patrol in the area, and Bobby knows or has a feeling like that's where she would be because it's all hands on deck. So you can see he is kind of like warring within himself to like, okay, tamp down the worry because I can't do anything about it now, and gotta kind of like compartmentalize. And I think that parallels more to May. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But anything else with Athena? I know we have, after the day that she's had and she comes back home to this like lovely family celebration, like for her first day back, and how it's so nice to see everybody there. So it was like Michael and Harry who had been staying with Michael as well. So like she'd even been a little more disconnected from one of her kids, and Bobby and May are there. And I think that just kind of is another illustration of like, she's not going through this alone. And I think they were all, in 401, they were very concerned about her first day back and how she was going to do. And now that she's survived the day, and they're just like, knew you could do it. Just very supportive, wanting to make it known that like they're there for her in like really sweet ways. So with May, I guess this is where I can bring back like the Bobby and May stuff a little bit. She is freaking out, I think, to put it lightly, because she's not used to having to, put her worries to the side and be professional working, because now she's working at dispatch while her mom is in critical danger. And I think that's where we see some of that kind of paralleled or mirrored with Bobby, like Bobby who has been a first responder for so long, kind of knows like when to let that worry take over and not operate out of fear. And May is still learning that lesson, because at one point she hops in on the call with Maddie when Maddie is talking with her mom, and Sylvia is just, this is not professional, and just says like, get out of there, like basically leave the person that you're trying to rescue, get out of there before you both die. That is not professional in any way, shape, or form. But she was operating out of fear, and she let that fear control her and say something that was not helpful in the situation. And Maddie reminds her, like, because dispatch is someone else's lifeline, they don't get to panic. They have to put that away for a little bit. So that kind of like outburst gets May taken off the floor, where she basically in timeout for a little bit, like to put it like, you're pulling me from the floor. It's timeout, but like in a nice way, which is still a fair thing, because in that line of work, you can get overwhelmed and you have to like take a minute. So it's like a little bit of self-care to like recenter and just kind of like think about what you did. And May is like realizing, especially under the tutelage of Maddie, that like, Maddie says her first day on the job, Josh told her the best thing they can do is their jobs. So that is how they can be the most helpful. That's how May can help her mom the most. And it is really sweet, though, at the end, once Athena gets picked up by Bobby in the helicopter, that Maddie does like give her the headset to talk directly to Athena and kind of like assuage both like her fears and her worries, and be like, okay, we got through this, kind of on to the next, which also like kind of brings us to when Athena is talking to May after Athena comes home. And this is like a really interesting conversation, because it's almost a complete like rehash of the kind of discussion / argument that Athena had with her mom in Athena Begins.
Yeah.
Because Athena is still like, I had hoped you would come to your senses. It's okay if you want to walk away. And the way May reacts to that is just like, are you crazy? I'm not gonna walk away. Like, why would you think I'm going to quit? You know? And that's when May like kind of confesses that she took the job at Dispatch because she wanted to help keep Athena safe and essentially have Athena's back so she doesn't have to be alone again.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching over her, because she does say like, yeah, because if by doing this you won't have to be alone again, is what I think she says.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense. And like you're right. I was going to say like there are parallels between like Athena and her mother in this situation, because like they are lacking, again, in this situation, they are lacking understanding why their daughters chose to take this kind of like role or job. On the one hand, I don't think be understood in the moment.
No.
But Athena does. Because she kind of, and May just kind of just like drops that line and just leaves her. But I think like that really does, I think she's taken a moment to kind of like let it settle and like understand. And it's more or less fine after that.
Yeah, because it's also like May is like Athena's daughter. So May is also pretty headstrong. When she makes a decision, she's going to kind of stick to it. And Athena realizing, I think now that May is doing this for her to show that like this is May's way of showing her that Athena isn't alone, even though Athena is the lone wolf. I think that really touches her. And it also shows how it's like at the same time mature and not immature, but like it's a mature thing for May to do, like a beautiful gesture. But it is also a little bit a decision made out of fear because of like, and it's very much informed by everything that happened to their family last year with the tsunami and Michael's brain tumor and Athena's attack. So like May is operating out of fear, but also like wanting to protect the people that she loves, which is a lovely gesture as well. And it's kind of hard to like be mad at someone for going into like civil service.
Yeah.
For like essentially the right reasons, but like a little like extra, Yeah. So it'll be nice to see like as this season progresses, like May kind of really come into her own at Dispatch, like and be able to operate, less out of fear and more, like a helping hand to save the day.
Hand?
What hand?
Oh,
a helping hand to save the day. Sorry. Are we on Hen and Karen?
I don't have anything to say about Hen and Karen other than the end of this episode, I guess, like character wise.
Yeah, there wasn't really much character wise. I do just want to say though that Hen's facial expressions when they're dealing with the three hikers and the guy in the quarantine and the guy in the quicksand are so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's just like watching this happen. Like
she was
like
watching a whole soap.
She literally was like the plot thickens and like talking about getting popcorn.
She's like, and then also like this is kind of torture. Can you guys hurry up with that ladder thing?
Yeah. Like
subjecting herself.
It's a little too much.
And then just like we see very briefly at the end with Hen getting ready for her first day at med school, and Karen gives her the backpack, and little Nia is so cute, and it's just like to bring you good luck on your first day. Gives her a little stuffed animal,
so cute,
and I just love the kind. To me, I find this so funny. The whole setup of like Karen giving her the backpack, like about to say good luck, have fun at school. bye, honey. And then Hen just walks over to the dining room table. Like instead of out the door.
Yep.
That just is so, that's like some of where that humor comes through for me.
I don't know. I think it's funny now, but it was not funny at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's something about just the way that is set up for the long walk to the dining table. And I think there is something to be said there maybe for, Hen's first day at med school, Athena's first day back at work, like new ventures sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really like touch on that. Not really new ventures. A new chapter, maybe. And Karen is supportive.
Of course, always.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to touch on Michael and David a little bit because I actually really love their part of the montage at the end.
Yeah.
Because, David's a doctor in a hospital and he's working in the ER. So it was just like a really good look at like what the actual first responders had to go through like during this time when they were living with their families. Like this is obviously later, in COVID, but like at the beginning, I think it was like they had to quarantine at home. So it was like separate bedrooms or like if they had a garage or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's the extra precautions that they have to keep in mind, which I think they show like very, very beautifully because there isn't a lot of dialogue there. It's just like, okay, this is unfortunately routine for them at this time. It's like they know the beats, they know like kind of the moves they have to make for them to be the most safe, to be with each other so they're not alone.
Yeah. But it's late enough, in the pandemic now that like, even though he still has to do this whole routine to keep them both safe, it's like they can then, be close and not be in isolation anymore. But it's just like a whole ritual.
It is ritualistic.
And then after it's all over, he's finally like, how was your day? Like he's probably been home for an hour, between all of like the laundry and the shower and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But David is just like, it was better than yesterday.
That's all you could kind of
That's all you
for.
can kind of say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just like, it just really shows how, like in a beautiful way, how Michael was I know this phrase is like memeified now, but like how Michael was holding space for David. I was saying that long before Wicked, okay?
I know.
Sure. But it's like kind of the best verbiage for that.
Mm-hmm.
Verbiage?
Whatever. I don't know.
It's kind of like the best way to say that, right? Because it's just like all you can kind of do is hold that space because you have David who's, in the ER in like probably the only place more hectic than out in the field for the firefighters, is the ER.
Yeah.
And just kind of like being that steadiness for him is really lovely. And just the fact that there was this little moment between Michael and Athena showing, some care and concern for David as well, and wanting to make sure that Michael is giving him the care that he needs.
I just like how it was set up where he felt like he had to defend his relationship. Like, I know you think we moved too fast. But like, we just felt like it was right. And she's like, he looks tired. Like, tell him to sleep.
And like Athena is not one to throw is not the one to throw stones about that. And it also kind of goes back to Michael like seizing the moments again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like ever since he met David, it's like things got a little brighter for him.
Yeah.
So, and Athena who and Bobby who got together like so quickly, got engaged, married, all that stuff, like they get it.
They do. And Michael also gets his ex-wife, his friend, and is like, Harry can stay here tonight because like he realizes she's had like a really tough first day back and she misses her kid. And it's like, yeah, you can have some extra time with him. So I don't know. It's just really nice to see how things are like, even in the midst of the chaos of COVID, like back to normal with like the Grant Nash family.
Balancing back out a little bit for them. It's like when Michael's not dealing with medical trauma for himself and Athena's kind of a little bit past her trauma, not really, but like, working on pushing through it. And it's just like, this is not the status quo, but like the dynamic.
Family dynamics,
I guess. this is kind of like the dynamic that is really enjoyable to watch.
Moving on to Buck. He is
he's being so supportive.
He's being mostly supportive. He's being like 70% supportive, 30% judgmental.
But like it's coming from a nice place of like, stop putting yourself down, Chimney.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be a great dad.
So on the Landslide call where they're working together and they're in the process of trying to like track down where the like baby monitor signal is coming from, Chim is like, oh my God, this baby might be an orphan because I didn't hear any adults. And Buck's like, you really do always go to the worst case scenario, don't you? And Chimney's like, is that judgment I'm detecting? And he's like, yeah, it is, because you were having a kid with my sister, but you're living on my couch. Like, please go home. Please go home.
Which I thought was so funny because that kind of was like a mirror to when Buck was living with Chimney for a while in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Chimney was like, can you please go somewhere else? It's that kind of relationship that they have, right? Like it is very like brothery.
Yeah.
Like, I love you, but you're obnoxious.
It's partially like, please get out of my house. Mostly like, please go be with my sister. She wants you to be there. Like, what are you doing here still?
Mm-hmm.
But Chim's like, in case you haven't noticed, like the world is crazy. And Buck's like, so like, what if it never goes back to normal? And Chim's like, well, then I'll be a crappy dad over video conferencing. That's at least something I have experience with.
Ugh.
And Buck tells him, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're going to be a great dad. And Chimney's like, you don't have any evidence. And he's like, I literally see you like take care of strangers every day. What do you mean? So he is trying to be really supportive.
And I wouldn't even say with like an ulterior motive to like get him to go back to Maddie, because like he does actually feel this way.
Yeah, he does.
With the added benefit of maybe that will bring Chimney back to Maddie.
Yeah. For Maddie's sake.
And everybody wins.
And Buck's, yes.
Yeah. But he's just so optimistic and so like looking on the bright side, and that's just like so quintessentially Buck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can't relate.
So sweet.
Can't relate to that part of him.
That's the most Buck-coded thing about me.
Yes, I think so. The sunny optimism.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After Chim saves the girls and he helps Amber deliver the baby in their back topside, Hen's like, good job, Chim. And like, that must have felt good. And Eddie's like, how was the practice run? And he's like, in all fairness, I didn't have to do a lot, like just catch. And then Buck.
So funny.
I know. Buck is like, he doesn't need a practice run. He's going to be a great dad to a baby Buckley. And I'm just like, he is the most supportive brother.
Yeah. It's also like Buck kind of already being in uncle mode a little bit as well. He's fully preparing for it too.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of wanting to step up in that way. So he's operating on, future uncle, future brother-in-law, kind of brotherly bonding, but also coworker. Yeah. It's like so many layers of connection for Chimney and Buck, and it's really sweet. I love when they get paired off. It's so funny. It's like an odd couple sort of thing, right?
Yeah. It is. It's cute. So then we find out that at the end of this episode, like when Buck's walking away because he's getting a phone call from the FaceTime that him and Albert are having with Maddie and Chimney. And she's like, stop hiding your mystery girl from us. Like, I want to meet her. And he runs up to the loft where there is still no privacy.
Albert is right there. It's the same thing that happened in 309, where it was like Christopher was right there.
Yeah, he was literally right there. It's, such high ceilings. It's got to be so echoey. Anyway, we find out that his mystery woman is a therapist. It's Dr. Copeland. And he's like, I've actually been thinking a lot about what you said in our last session and how I hide my true feelings from others. I'm starting to think you might be right. And it ends with her just going, okay, let's start there. So that's like the most insight we get to whatever the hell he's in therapy for.
Which is so interesting because, like, is it just me or was there like not a lot of lead up to that?
Oh, there's not. I have so much to say about this in many different aspects. because like this does get brought back up, obviously, as a plot point throughout the beginning of the season, because it's like Maddie finds out he's in therapy, becomes a thing where she tells the parents, and the parents he yells at them. But it's a whole thing.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So I think part of the therapy probably has to do with his parents, but like the rest of it,
he's never really mentioned his parents.
No.
Like from what we know, they don't really take up a lot of space in his mind. I guess maybe they do. And maybe this was also like a thing to clue us in that like maybe we don't know Buck as well as we think we do, sort of thing. But it's just like there was no true like little snippet of insight.
I mean, what I had personally thought was, I mean, again, like there's really nothing that really tells us why at this point, like why he's there. But I had really thought that, I guess his last conversation with Abby,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that was what I had thought basically forever, because of that last conversation he had with Abby. He was like, all right, I need to get therapy.
Yeah. And I think he does allude to that in 402 or 3. No, 403. 4.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
403. I know we haven't, but she's bringing it up. So I'm saying he does allude to that.
No, which is fine. It just like it wasn't in my like brain for that.
Which is fair. I scrubbed through a bunch of Buck stuff for the season for the Best Buddies segment. It's the only reason it's on my mind.
Oh, makes sense. No, I if he alluded to it in 403, I completely forgot. For me, it was just, I guess, context clues. That's where I'm getting it.
Yeah, I'll read the quotes in a couple minutes, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so my OTP finally came true. Buck in therapy.
It's so great.
I love to see it.
This is where I have a couple quotes from Oliver Stark about Buck going to therapy. So I'll just read these. This is from an Us Weekly article. And Oliver said about the reveal that Buck is seeing a therapist. He says, I think we've seen throughout the seasons that there's always been a sense of unknown with Buck, and unease even, as he tries to figure himself out. We've seen different iterations of him over the seasons as he does start to discover more of himself, whether that can be through relationships or his job. I think it's just another level of his own self-discovery. And on one hand, he seems like he wears his heart on his sleeve and is very open with his emotions. But I think that can be as much of a facade and a mask as anything. So I think it's more about unveiling his true self rather than the cocky facade we may have seen in the past. So just like starting to peel back even more layers of Buck. Because yes, Buck is like the very, optimistic, kind of gung-ho. I'm gonna, do some of the dangerous stunts. I'm going to be supportive and tell people like, you're going to be a great dad. But there's more to him under the surface. I just really like that insight. I know it's not really saying much other than that, like, it's there. There is depth to Buck because, again, on the surface, like, I guess for a more casual viewer, can appear that Buck is like a very kind of archetypal character. But we know there's so much more. He's like a little iceberg, right? Where there's just so much more on the surface, under the surface.
Yeah, for some things. He does wear his heart and his emotions on his sleeve a lot, but I think there are just some things that he just like tries not to think about and therefore doesn't talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pushes stuff away.
Yeah, he puts it in a little box and tries not to open that unless he's forced to.
For him, I know we use like the metaphor of like compartmentalization and putting it in a box and stuff pretty often. For him, I kind of think like it's a soda bottle. And then at one point, there's just one thing too many, and it's a little Mentos, and it just goes like...
Yeah.
Did you mean to say for Eddie, compartmentalization in boxes?
We've said that for multiple people.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, I know we say this for this character, but I think for Buck, it's more this. Sorry, I was confused.
Oh, no, you're fine.
The structure of that.
Eddie very much is the box,
yes.
But I think, like, I know I've said that about Athena as well.
Okay.
Like her little Emmett box.
Oh, I know.
Even like that was a physical box. So, but Eddie is.
I'm like thinking about boxes that are just going to burst open because there's so much in there, but like
So soon.
Yeah.
But the Mentos and the Coke bottle does.
So soon in
Yeah.
both season 4 and season 9.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Or like it's the little soda bottle or something, and every time he like tries to put something away, it shakes a little bit. And then eventually, it's just gonna like explode out of him.
Yeah.
Which is where like the spiraling kind of like emanates from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's kind of how I mentally picture it. And I mean that with all the affection and love possible.
Oh, yeah, I know. So sadly, not a lot of Eddie to talk about in this episode.
No. He's just serving face
Always.
and annoyed.
He's so annoyed with the quarantine. It's so funny to me. He's literally like, I've told you once, I've told you twice, and now I'm done. Like now you're making it worse. Like he's not like quite having bad bedside manner, but like he's getting a little snappy because like he is indeed making it worse, which is like threatening his health and making it harder for them to help him.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really funny. But we do see Eddie being an example of a good dad, right?
He's so sleepy.
I know. What a day he's had. What a day they've all had. Good Lord. And just like the phone call or the video call that he and Chris and Carla are on are really, really lovely and sweet. And it just shows like the little invisible string story that Carla reads them as they're both falling asleep adorably is so like lovely and just really reiterates the whole like everyone is connected, nobody is alone, and even though we may be further apart physically, we can still be closer together emotionally, which was like the thesis of that basically. But it was such a cute little scene.
Yeah. Thank you for the moment of peace from the.
It kind of needed a moment of peace.
Yeah.
Something about those quiet moments of peace, just like stillness in a chaotic world at that time, I think is really like a breather,
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we kind of really enter our slow burn segment, we're going to have our best buddy mini segment. So shout out to our best buddies on Patreon.
Thank you so much, Erin, Alexandria, Tris D, and Freya 2004.
We're about to start a mini segment they voted for. Was this the original start of Buck's intended queer arc?
Ooh. It's exclusive to the Best Buddies tier on Patreon.
So if you'd like to vote on and hear special mini segments each episode
and get a personalized shout out, subscribe to our Patreon.
Back to the regular scheduled slow burn. We just talked for entirely too long. In the best buddies section, the actual textual from this episode thing we have to talk about is the end where Buck is talking to his therapist and says, I was thinking about what you said about hiding my true feelings. And I think you might be right. Like, oh, I'm so sure.
And what are those true feelings, Buck?
Who are you hiding them from?
What are they about and who are you hiding them from?
Mm-hmm.
For no reason. None at all.
And we never really get an answer to this.
No.
We don't. That kind of drives me nuts.
No. I think the closest, and I'm stretching, is in it's 404 that he yells at his parents, right? Where he's like, you want to know why I'm in therapy? Nothing I ever did was ever good enough.
Good enough.
So I take that and I'm like, well, who has he always been good enough for? Who's the only person who he's really never disappointed? Like even when he did, he forgave him so quickly.
And then was reassured that like he can still be trusted
exactly
above everyone else even. Oh, would that be Eddie?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because I don't know if the feelings were like not feeling good enough for what? For who?
Yeah, because like his parents weren't there yet. They weren't even in the picture at this point. So like for who?
So then still to go back to kind of what you were saying in the Buck section, thinking about how that the therapy and stuff was kind of brought on by him reconnecting with Abby in that way. Well, that's also very specifically about romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And him then reflecting on his other relationships that he's had in the show so far, which I mean was really only like Abby and Allie.
Well, okay, so in 4 or 3 he says it's Maddie, right? That he was sad and lonely. That's the reason why therapy. And yeah, because like you're sad and lonely, not in, I don't think in familial relationships necessarily.
Right.
No, and he says that in that conversation.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, no, it's totally like the things are adding up where it's like, if you add in the reason he's in is because he doesn't feel good enough and he feels sad and lonely, and it's connected to romanticism. Like what's the equation working out to here? Like, I feel like he's all like, it's there and it's percolating and it's like the math is starting to math, but
like it's rising to the surface and then it just kind of like,
yeah.
But just kind of like fizzles before it really gets like a fully formed thought or like a fully formed thing for us to like path to go down and exploring in this season. It's just really interesting, especially in this episode where Buck seems so supportive of his larger family unit, namely like Chim as part of the family, Maddie being an uncle, being surrounded by people that he loves.
Yeah.
Because now Albert is his roommate. They're gonna have some growing pains, but like probably largely will enjoy that because he really liked Albert when they first met in season 3. So like, you know,
so it's like, who do you not feel good enough for? Do you not feel good enough? Like you don't feel like it, I don't know. It's just so interesting in the correlation of like your best friend started dating someone and literally right after that you started dating someone when you haven't dated anyone for like over, it was the end of season 2, right?
Yeah. He had no romantic relationships in season 3.
So I know this is going to get into our second point, but like, were you sad and lonely when Eddie was living with you during quarantine?
Maybe he was a little depressed after Eddie moved out.
Yeah.
And he felt sad and lonely. Because they're never lonely when they're together.
Exactly.
We did it, guys.
Smart past us.
We connected the dots.
Yeah, like that. When you eliminate like all of the other factors, I mean, that's kind of what's left.
Yeah.
On the table there, right?
Yeah.
Is because it seems like he feels more fulfilled and more steady in his place at work.
Yeah.
More fulfilled and steady in his familial relationships.
In the 118 family.
And the friends.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then what's left? What feelings are you, and that doesn't preclude like he can have, you know, complicated feelings about any of those, but it's just like, if it's such a big issue that's the first thing that you bring up to your therapist, like in your session that you've been like thinking about since your last one, what feelings are those? And process of elimination, it seems like it's kind of romantic,
and
especially.
And it might not be that he even knows on any level that it's romantic, but I bet you anything that
on a conscious level.
But I bet you he knows that it's like partially about Eddie and Chris and how he fits in and doesn't fit in, because it's not. He feels like they're his family, but they're not. But they're not his family. I'm thinking about a quote from Oliver about season 8. Like someone asked him about like, has he talked to Chris like while Chris has been in Texas, and he's like, I think like Buck probably feels like it's not his place, like, and is just leaving that to Eddie. So I really do think that it's like we spent the entire year like establishing them as a family, and like I think we've said before that like Buck doesn't see it the same way that Eddie and Chris see it. Like he doesn't feel secure in that
unit,
familial unit.
Yeah, I just keep thinking back to still bringing it back to Abby, because that was like light bulb moment where it's just like, if a lot of that stuff is being brought up by reconnecting with Abby, it's like, well, then inherently there's going to be something about his romantic life there under the surface that he's not fully okay with, or like wants more out of.
Yeah. I'm sure he's had thoughts of like, when Eddie starts dating someone, then my role is going to eventually be less.
Yeah.
Right? Because like that's how that works. Like their romantic partner becomes what he currently is, just without the romance. So
and what better way to fill some of that feelings of loneliness, right? Than to try to find a romantic connection, like a connection of equal importance as Eddie's romantic connection. So that's also when we just all of a sudden see Buck start trying to date people again. It's like because his place in that relationship,
they always do this.
Is like threatened. They do always do this. It's always like it's always around the same time they start dating people, and it's not often that it's like flip-flops.
They don't break up too far apart either.
No.
So interesting.
It's such an interesting pattern.
It really is. I think the only time we don't see one of them dating someone when the other one is when Buck was dating Tommy and Eddie was dealing with his own shit.
Yes.
Like swore off anything related to dating, which is like so fair.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the only time because it was like Natalia.
But that only
and
lasts for
Marisol.
5 episodes.
But it was like Natalia and Marisol / kind of Kim at the same time.
Oh my God.
And Anna and Taylor at the same time. Allie doesn't really count. But then we also still had Shannon at that point. Like, you know? So it's a consistent pattern.
I mean, Shannon died in 17. Allie broke up with him in 18.
Yeah. Again, it's just an interesting pattern. We're just reporting the news.
Exactly.
And the patterns.
But anyway, back to roommates.
And they were
roommates. So yeah, I'm sure Buck loved having everyone there, but especially Eddie there, but then also felt a little guilty about how much he liked having Eddie there. I also would just like to talk about, where did Eddie sleep?
Oh my God. Every fanfic.
No, for real. What are the logistics? No, we do have to think about the logistics because, like, first of all, just to have Buck's loft be the quarantine bubble is so interesting because there are no walls and you're going to put 4 people in there because it was Buck and Eddie and Hen and Chimney. That's a lot of people for a 1-bedroom, wall-less
If I was Hen,
apartment.
I would have left.
Well, everyone else has kids, so they didn't want to displace any of the kids.
Yeah, I mean,
their houses.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, that's kind of a tight squeeze for 4 people.
So talking about tight squeezes, like his that's on you. The downstairs area, like where his couch and like armchair is big enough for maybe 2 air mattresses.
Yeah.
Which would be Hen and Chim. They're not sharing an air mattress.
No.
So then unless they're going to put an air mattress in the kitchen.
Like where the dining room table is.
Yes.
But then where are you going to put the dining room table?
And also, how are you maneuvering around? Like around 3 air mattresses? Just, I don't know.
We need more information of
Someone slept outside.
the routine.
Someone's on the balcony.
Their version of sleeping on the couch.
Yeah.
It's just like, go outside.
I mean, like, the only way I could see all 3 of them downstairs is if they slept on cots. But, like, why would you spend months sleeping on a cot, not only at work, but at your temporary home?
Also, what size are these air mattresses? They're twins, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think so. Like
If there were 3 twins that
like,
you could potentially fit some, you would have to move the furniture around.
Definitely.
Talk to any 30 or 40-year-old and they're going to tell you I'm not sleeping on a twin air mattress.
No,
like it needs to be one of the double ones that's high off the ground, and it needs to be a queen. To myself,
I feel like Hen would need like that.
Yes,
You know, like extra comfiness.
Oh, for sure.
And room.
And Hen and Chimney are, other than Bobby, they're the most senior there. Like I know that they're over 40. Come on.
Yeah.
They're not getting down on a single like twin air mattress. It's like right off the no. Anyway, this is just the agenda to say that Buck and Eddie probably shared a bed in our minds and in every fan fiction on AO3.
It makes the most sense, like actually logistically.
It does.
It does.
Unless someone wants to take a schematic and explain to me how you're going to have 4 people in that space for months and be able to maneuver around it and not have to constantly like deflate the air mattresses, inflate the air mattresses.
I know people have made like
schematics
of the loft. Now I need you to take scale models of different size air mattresses and or cots and or I don't know, a collapsible bunk bed if they
we need options.
Like a fold-out bunk bed. I don't know.
Someone who's friends with Tim Minear on Facebook, can you ask?
Oh my god!
What we really need is like a little like throwaway line, which again, 911 never has throwaway lines, but just like a little itty bitty lore drop related, harkening back to quarantine era.
Yeah, when Buddie goes canon.
Just so we know.
when Buddie is, well, see, you know, that could have been, we could have had that in season 8 going into season 9 if they did do Buddie roommates or something and be like, well, we shared a bed before.
And we could still potentially kind of get that somehow because we haven't seen anything about Buck's new house, place, whatever, because that's where he feels at home.
I don't know about right now, though. Anyway.
No, I just like for a brief pivot, I do also think that's very interesting, like this whole conversation about having the 118 quarantine when we had this like weird love triangle quarantine from the hikers at the beginning about how, you know, the girl was just brought in as like surprise roommate and the other person, the other guy friend fell in love with her. That because of like proximity and everything. And like, we know the 118 just like live in each other's pockets anyways. So I just think that's like a really interesting, like parallel to pull in here.
So this, this is why I said, I was like, Hen left first because she already clocked the weird tension. Well, not tension, but like the weird dynamic between these two idiots. Chimney doesn't know. Because if he knew, he would be blabbing. So
no, you're right.
There we go.
That's why
that was the order of operation.
She was like, I can't take the gay pine anymore. I need to go home to my wife.
Yeah.
Do you think Hen was trying to like at some point kind of like hint, nudge, nudge Chim to just like let's leave them to whatever their thing is and like let's go home to our beautiful, wonderful like partners and wives and stuff, and they can just work that out. I was about to say work that out in the ring, but like
I don't know. She probably also is smart enough to realize that both of them are like so repressed. There was no chance.
Yeah. But I think she would have tried to be like, no, Chim, like let's.
She probably tried to talk him into going home earlier, but I don't think it had anything to do with dumb and dumbasser.
No, she could. No. She could definitely just keep that one to herself and be like, "I'm so out of here." Oh, there's another way we can get a throwaway line because, like, you know, Hen in 705 is like, it's about time, and then like she could be like, "Finally," because quarantine was torture or something like that. But
I still think there is potential to get like a little, like just a little nugget. I would love just a teeny tiny little nugget.
People would like to know.
Relating back to
more about quarantine.
Several years later.
Yeah, which is fine.
At Tim.
At any time. It's never too late.
Never too late. Never say never.
You don't even have to say it was during quarantine. Just be like, yeah, we did it before. It's fine. Normal.
Exactly. Yeah. And then people will extrapolate and just like make the connections. And it's like, oh,
yep,
that makes sense now. Confirmed. Canon. Boom. Yeah. So lots of interesting stuff happening in our slow burn section, even though there was like, you think there's nothing, but wait, we can always find more.
Can always find the way to make it about Buddie.
We do.
That's
our special
talent. That should be our motto. I don't know. We'll find a way.
I feel like that's implied in our title.
Okay, yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
We should ask the people in the Discord what our AO3 tags would be like as a podcast.
Oh.
Wait, that's so fun. Yeah. I think that's adorable. Yes. Okay. So I think that about does it for 402 Alone Together.
super excited to get into the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Looking forward to I was about to say the lighthearted moments, but also like the deep-hearted moments.
Listen, I'm here. I think for this season, I'm here for the angst. Yeah.
It's a different flavor of angst than last season.
This is better.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is angst.
Mhm.
Season 3 was just like sad.
Yeah.
4 is angst. And that's always like juicy.
Yeah.
Remember, don't hike to the Hollywood sign because it's illegal.
But if you do,
take a buddy with you. Thank you for listening to the Buddy System Podcast.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to our Discord community, full reaction videos, and even more exclusive content.
And if you really want to make our day, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Please come yap with us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
Bring a buddy with you.